Hey Raymond, how's it going? I just pressed the go live button and I'm hoping that this is actually working out. Quickly gonna check whether it's working out on LinkedIn. Raymond, I cannot hear you yet. I would have to invite you to the stage, which I wanted to do toward the end of the actual stream. So bear with me for now. If you wanna add questions or anything into the stream, you can do that. Just post a comment to all. Hey AJ, thanks for coming. Hi Luffy, Jay, nice to meet you. I'm not quite sure if my LinkedIn stream is now live. How do I see that? LinkedIn live overview. Huh? I look so young. Oh, thank you. Well, we're gonna hear about that. I'm not actually that young. I mean, it depends on, I guess, where you come from. If you're 100, everybody under 100 looks young to you. Hey, Ayo. Thanks. Looking great as always. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I cannot see you yet. By the way, so for those that are just joining right now, you are very much invited to join me on stage a bit later, because what I'm trying to do with these office hours is make this sort of a weekly thing that we have in our little group over here. So where you can ask any question, and ideally, I don't want to just show up a question on the screen. I want to get to know you guys. I want to know what you guys are building, what your agencies do, etc. Hi Emma, thanks for joining. So I'll invite you. There should be a link posted to the top of all of the streams. Definitely, if you're on the live stream, I don't know how it works on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, but there should be a link saying join me on stage. I will share that a little bit later again, just in case people didn't get it. But yeah, I'll wait for another few minutes to see if some more people are making it here. And then later, I will try to get you guys on stage. Where are you guys all from, by the way? Like, where is everybody located? Because we tried to find like a good time slot, which works for everyone. You guys like stateside or in Europe or Asia? Should be going to bed, I guess, but UK, okay. Fahad, yes, there will be a recording of the session. Hi from Toronto. Well, guess what? We're neighbors, David. I'm also in Toronto. Louisiana. Great. Ayo, yes, I'm very much looking forward to another UK. I'm very much looking forward to, and I really, honestly, this is for now at least, it's a fairly small group. But hopefully over time, tell your friends, tell your agency owners. Nigeria, okay, yes, of course. You're a little bit further away. I appreciate you joining in. But so the idea is that I'll try to make this a weekly session when I'm not traveling, because I do travel quite a bit for Brizy. But I'll try to cover some topics which I hope are interesting to you. But the main point is, and if you look at the agenda, the key focus of today's session will actually be on having a two-way conversation. So you asking me questions about Brizy or about lead generation, or about how I would do marketing if I were you, and things of that nature. So it's less about the actual product. I'm not trying to sell you more Brizy licenses. The idea is really I try to share some of the knowledge that I have, and get you guys a good overview of how you can actually use our tools, of course, to make your marketing agency successful. So with that said, let me jump into it. So I have about 10 minutes or so, a short presentation, which I'm going to go over first. Let me just put this on stage. And by the way, is the audio and everything, is that good? Audio, video working well? Yes, I hope so. I haven't heard any complaints yet, so I'm assuming it's a yes. So lead magnets, I want to talk about those. I will actually take initially some time to talk about something which I don't prefer talking about so much. It's talking about myself, but I do think it helps for setting the stage and giving you some context, who I actually am at Brizy, what I do at Brizy, but then also what actually got me here. because it contextualizes a bit more on who I am and how I might have some experience in actually generating leads. Because guess what? I do a lot of that at Brizy. So I'm Nils, as you all know. I currently am the CRO of Brizy, Chief Revenue Officer. That is a big term in a startup or a scale up. I'm basically in charge of all sales. So I try, finding new customers for Brizy. I try generating leads. I try to come up with cool initiatives. I send a lot of emails. I do a lot of meetings. I try to explain our product. I try to educate people on basically how to use our stuff, what it costs, what kind of contracts we have, and all of that stuff. I am originally German, so I grew up in Germany, and I left Germany when I was 19, which is about 23 years ago now. So not that young. I don't know who said that, but I'm not that young anymore, Luffy. So I left Germany at 19 and lived in the UK. I lived in Bristol actually for 1 year. And then later I lived 2 years in London, but that is a little bit further down the CV. When I came back, I started studying in the Netherlands. So I started studying in Maastricht in the south of the Netherlands. And out of the Netherlands, we actually created our first software startup, me and two friends from university. It's called Spam Experts. So I basically did all of the outreach activities there. So they had a pretty cool product, but didn't have any customers yet. They initially started, we initially tried to sell it to end users, which turned out, wasn't really our game. And we started selling it to web hosting providers. So I built up basically the web hosting provider channel, doing B2B sales for Spam Experts. We sold the company a few years ago. It's now actually listed on the NASDAQ as part of a bigger group, the company that actually bought us. And so the reason why I mentioned this is because it bought me a little bit of freedom. I had some time to figure out what I wanted to do. I also worked for 2 years at the .xyz registry, which is a domain extension, .com, .net, .xyz. You guys probably know this. So I ran business development for them. And I also worked on the other side of the table of that. I worked for Namecheap as the head of business development. And Namecheap, of course, is a very large hosting provider. They're also a Brizy customer, by the way. This happened before I was it happened before I was at Brizy and actually after I left Namecheap. But so Namecheap is a large hosting provider, and I basically dealt with all the registry relations. So, making sure that we promote the right products, that we find new customers, basically onboard people to the platform. After I did these 2 office jobs, I kind of felt that, okay, I wanted to do something that I'm really, really passionate about, and that is photography. I mentioned that here. I'm probably currently taking photos somewhere. It's not true, but I don't really have a lot of time for photo taking anymore. But I decided, okay, I'm gonna try to start taking photos, more professionally. So I educated myself, tried to figure out, how to actually build a business around that. And that was at the time when I lived in Los Angeles. And I would like to present to you the first website that I actually built. It looked pretty much like that. So I didn't really want to spend any money on paying for a website builder. So I decided to do it in WordPress and to try to do it for free, as cheap as possible. Buy some plugins, etc. No idea what I was doing. I'm not a developer. I'm not a marketing agency, so I don't really know how to build websites. So for me, I got hacked, I think no less than 7 times. And literally this happened you went to nilsdecker.com, and this would be what you get, like a bunch of casino and some less appropriate pop-ups. And I had no idea how to actually fix it because, I didn't understand WordPress, and I understand a lot better now. But at the time, I kind of, I had to live with not really knowing how to get this done. So this is sort of at the time, I basically figured out that I needed to find a solution to make website building suck less, because I always thought it's very, very hard to do, especially in WordPress, unless you are a WordPress developer and you really understand how the ecosystem works. So I used Brizy actually. I started using Brizy and managed to build my first website with Brizy, and that one didn't get hacked because I really only ran the WordPress plugin. And then at some point, a friend of mine, he introduced me to our CEO, Dimi. And we had some common friends, and he just said, "Hey, look, Nils, Brizy is looking to find somebody to build up their B2B sales." And since I've done that a couple of times, I kind of wanted to join the team. Excuse me. So this is my current website. Excuse me. This is my current website. It looks a lot cleaner. It hasn't been hacked a single time. It hasn't been down, as far as I'm aware, ever. And so basically, I decided, okay, I want to join a company that actually makes website building suck less, and that is, of course, Brizy. And our product generally is geared towards it's made easy enough for an end user like myself, somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, but they know how to drag and drop a bunch of images onto a page and add some text, etc. But it also gives an agency owner the possibility to, of course, create more complex websites, SEO optimized with hundreds of pages, dynamic content, blog posts, etc. I also have a second website, by the way. So, if you want to get your headshot taken in Toronto, swing on by speedyheadshots.com. That is me as well. So I basically, joined Brizy about a little bit over 3 years ago. Actually, no, it's coming up on 3 years. I think I joined in June of 2021. And so since then, I've basically been in charge of, all major sales related activities. And I work closely with the marketing team, with the product team. So whenever, I have a call with you guys and you tell me, hey, this doesn't really work in Brizy the way I want it to work, then I take that to, to the product team, and I tell them, hey, this feature is something that we should consider because our prime users are requesting that. If you have a call with me and you tell me, oh, I never knew that you also had an API, then I tell the marketing team, hey guys, we need to communicate more clearly that we have an API that our customers can actually get access to if they're on a certain plan. So that is kind of my role and my journey, how I got from a passion for photography, worked in tech for a while, tried to create some websites, and then I actually heard about a job at Brizy, and I decided to join the team. So with that, I want to go into the actual content of today, and to some of you, this will be a bit of a not super interesting. You might just think, okay, well, this is, I completely understand how this works. I don't really need this kind of information. But as I said in the very beginning, my idea of this series, of these office hours, as I call it for now, is to educate anybody from like a successful agency that has maybe 30 websites or 50 or 100 or 500 websites, to somebody that's literally starting out and they have this idea of, okay, well, I want to start a digital marketing agency. I hope, of course, you guys would consider Brizy for the website builder, but it's mostly about how do you actually advertise the services that you sell, because basically when you have a demo with me of Brizy, I always try to give you a holistic picture of everything that we do, right? So the idea is I'm going to start at a few basics. So forgive me if this is boring to you, but I'll have some nuggets toward the end, and I'll actually show you, a little bit under the hood what we actually do at Brizy for lead generation, how we use lead magnets, which ones work. Do we have any ones that don't work? Well, we don't know yet. I think we just started implementing a few of them, so I keep you posted on that. So let's get started. What is a lead? I think people always have sort of an idea of what that is in their head, but they cannot really express it very clearly. So I'm going to get started with a lead is a person you can contact. So that is, they somehow, I cannot contact you guys unless you actually sign up through the StreamYard platform, because I don't have your email addresses, right? I don't technically know who you are. So a lead is somebody that you can actually contact. So you have their contact information somehow. You can get that contact information by, for example, scraping leads, right? You can check the yellow pages. And this is my example, if you've done a demo with me, you had heard me talk about this. If you, for example, say, well, my business is going to be, I'm going to be the marketing agency building dentist websites in Toronto. You can, of course, just Google, dentist Toronto. You find a whole bunch of leads. You can find their email addresses. You can email them. You can contact them. You have their phone number. You can call them. You can email them. You can probably find out who the actual person is that owns the dentistry. But this isn't exactly what you want, because this is cold outreach and many of the people will not respond. Now, what is an engaged lead? An engaged lead is actually somebody that has shown some interest in buying the stuff that you sell. So if you're that marketing agency that is looking to build a dentist website building business in Toronto, you would, for example, create a lead magnet which says, the 5 top tips for dentists trying to get more customers. Sign up for my workshop, sign up for my ebook. And I'm going to give you a few more examples in just a second, what a lead magnet can actually be, like more specific examples, right? So an engaged lead is somebody like you that actually signed up through the streaming platform, because I now have your email address, I have your name. Apparently you're interested in hearing about lead magnets. So, I can actually contact you after the show and say, hey, look, can I, do you want to buy a Brizy license? Can I do a demo with you, etc. So an engaged lead is, a little bit better, obviously, than just a regular lead, because they have shown some interest in the stuff that you sell. Now, lead magnets, what they are, very simply put, there's something of value to your lead, and they serve you to collect their contact information. So it is something that you are fairly certain a client would want. If you go to the supermarket, you're probably hungry or you need food at home. If there is somebody that stands with a free cheese platter and they say, hey, want to try my cheese? That sounded wrong. You want to try a piece of cheese? You would probably say yes to that, and then you get some free cheese, and you're probably going to get more hungry and potentially actually buy that cheese that they're giving away for free. So what do good lead magnets do? They generally reveal your lead's problem on the spot. So if I'm a dentist in Toronto and I browse the internet and I'm on Instagram, and then all of a sudden, there is an Instagram ad and it says, this is how I grew my dentist customer base from 100 to 500 in 4 months. I'd immediately think, oh, wow, I'm actually interested in that, right? Like, it raises my interest. And then you click on the actual ad, and then it takes you to lead magnet, download the ebook on how to grow your business, as a dentist in Toronto. So you can be very, very specific with that. It reveals your leads. The lead magnet itself reveals your lead's problem right away. And lead magnets typically are also either free or incredibly low priced. So if I were to give you, a 99% discount on a Brizy license, you'd probably want to do it, even though, you might not want the product after the discount is over. But you're sort of attracted because it's, if it costs you $1 to buy the white label plan, you would most likely want it because the regular price is $160. So of course, you're just going to go for that. So it's either free or incredibly low priced. They're also easy to consume, sign up for, or to consume. So depending on, what type of lead magnet, what kind of business you're in, they're either free or easy to consume. So, I don't have to fill out a 10-step lead form. I don't have to, reveal more information. It's usually like name and email address, name and phone number. Maybe, you can ask for, what product are you interested in, which services, like something like that. But in general, they're very, very, low barrier to entry. And of course, last but not least, and this is mostly important for yourself, when you create a lead magnet, you want to enable the lead to easily speak to you, right? So the moment you've signed up through StreamYard, you want to hear from me again, right? Like, or you want to be able to give your lead a chance to actually book a demo with you. Some examples at the bottom. I hope this is not too small for you guys to read. Free cheese at the supermarket, I already mentioned that one. A webinar about, lead magnets. Hey, guess what? I now can contact you guys. Some bonus packs, I think that is interesting for a marketing agency. Any sort of templates, right? You create this cool Brizy design, and you want to advertise it to other Brizy agencies. You want to actually sell that template. You can say, sign up for, this free photography template. Stay with my example. This awesome photography design. All you need to do is, give me your phone number and your email address, and then I can start marketing to you over time. Checklists, white papers, free trials, guides, etc. Those are all, I think, pretty decent examples of lead magnets. Some examples over here. And again, I hope this isn't too small. This is a lead magnet from one of my favorite, I guess, how do you call these people now? Business influencers that aren't influencers and, that sell you, I don't know, food products on Instagram, but the people that actually, on LinkedIn, you see a ton of them now. So Alex Hormozy is his name. The 7 money models we use to scale gyms past $100,000 a month like clockwork, right? If I read that, I'm a gym owner. It's a no-brainer. I want that, right? Like, all I need to do is literally put my email address in there, and then you're going to give me that? Yes, of course, right? Carmen Kendrick Creative. I try to find something more relevant to, I guess, to you guys. So digital marketing agency, the ultimate brand and web design resource guide. If you're just starting out as a digital marketing agency, this is probably of interest to you. You put your name, you put your email address in there, and then I guess, what's her name? Carmen is going to teach you about that. Now, how do you then actually generate leads with lead magnets? I like to start with a bunch of questions. Number one, who do you sell to? And let's go with my example, dentist in Toronto. There's lots of people with toothaches and lots of people in general in Toronto. So there's lots of dentists, and you figured out they all have terrible websites. You want to sell them a great looking website, of course, with Brizy. And you basically figure out, okay, you know who you want to sell to. Now, what problem do they have in common, to which you actually have the solution? So what problem they have in common? If you did some research, you figure out, well, websites are terrible, or they're not very easy to use, or you cannot easily contact the dentist. Then you can just create, for example, a Brizy website template, and then you reach out to the dentist and tell them, hey, I have a great template for you. It's free. You can actually use this design, but you have to sign up with me, with my agency, so you can start using the product. And then which part of the offer can you actually give them for free? That doesn't require a lot of effort on your behalf, right? Because you don't want to spend a lot of time on building a custom website and then give it away for free. That doesn't really make sense. But it's sort of a one-time effort. You created the great dentist website template, and then you sell that to 100 customers in Toronto. And if you have that, so you're essentially just selling the template. You're actually not selling them web design services. You have now found your lead magnet. The idea of a lead magnet, of course, like I said before, is you do want to generate money and business with that over time. So what you would be offering the dentist is, hey, I saw that you downloaded my free template, but you haven't launched the website yet, or you haven't done anything with it. Like, maybe you're interested in me actually doing it for you. My web design services start at $1,000, and I only charge, $100 a month for the actual hosting, the infrastructure, and security, and all of those aspects. Are you interested? And then you can actually get into a sales conversation. So you open up the top of funnel. How do we do this at Brizy? I try to pick the most the most visible part of how we do it at Brizy, which is actually on the homepage. I think what's his name from Ogilvy and Mater, the David Ogilvy, he said, basically, the moment you've written your headline, you've spent 80 cents of your one marketing dollar. So that better be good, right? And then what you see over here is white label website builder for agencies and SaaS. So this is our headline. This is when we spend 80 cents of the $1 we have to spend. And then we, of course, sprinkle some lead magnets around that. At the bottom here, that's probably too small to read, but it says start your free trial. Top right corner, it says contact sales. This isn't technically a lead magnet, but it is a very, very easy way for somebody to find out more, right? Like, if they want to have a one-to-one demo with me or somebody in my team, they just contact our sales team. And of course, at the top, we recently launched our AI website builder. So it's sort of a gamification element. It doesn't cost you any. It literally costs you $0 to create a website with Brizy. And then after you've tried for, I think, 4 or 5 times, we will then require you to sign up for an account. And this is the moment, our lead magnet works, and we actually get some information from you. We also, and this hasn't been launched yet, and let me try to paste the URL for you in the chat. So I'm going to post this as a comment to everyone. And I'm also going to post the other landing page really quickly. Don't go too far away, please. Can probably still hear me. So we have these two lead magnets that we used in the past. Actually, the case study, the first one, the case study, we haven't, I think, officially launched yet. But it's already live, so you guys can see it. We're working together with a marketing agency that has decided, okay, they want to actually give us testimonial. So you want to read that case study. All we ask for is, I think, your email address and your name, and then, or your company size or something, and then we kind of have qualifying information to be able to do some additional marketing for you guys. The second part, I don't know, this is actually my second webinar or live stream that I've ever done, is the second part, webinar and landing page. LP here stands for landing page. How to create a killer landing page in under 20 minutes. I did that with Omar at Glorify about, I'm going to guess, like 2 months ago or so. and we basically try to showcase how you can do that. Again, the lead magnet was, okay, we actually give you the template toward the end, right? We actually we created a beautiful design template, and then everybody that joined that webinar, they can actually get that and use it as a lead magnet for themselves, right? So if you go to that landing page, check it out on Brizy.io. And if you, by the way, if you want the template, I can also actually get that into your Brizy accounts if you're a Brizy client. If not, you can sign up for a free trial, and then I can push it to your account there. With that said, I think I'm actually pretty much on time where I wanted to be with this presentation. So I don't know if you guys have any questions. I haven't seen any in the chat. You can paste them into the chat. And let me actually just, I think if I move forward, how does this work? Wait, where are my slides? Here. If you want to connect with me, this is, scan this QR code that is going to take you to LinkedIn, or if you just search for Nils Decker and Brizy on LinkedIn, you'll find me there. But what I want to do next is indeed, and I'm going to give you like 5 more seconds to scan this QR code in case you want to. But what we're going to do next is you can use the join me on stage link that I stickied. What is it called? Like I pinned it to the top of the chat. I don't know if that works on all platforms. I believe it said something that on LinkedIn it doesn't work, but I don't really know. So if not, you can also just, let me just copy the link again as a comment. There you go. I'll paste it into comment for those that joined later. So if you click that link, I think if you're in the live stream, you can directly join. If you're not in the live stream, but you're on Facebook or something like that, then you have to sign up for a StreamYard account. It's all free. You don't have to really do anything. But yeah, then, and let me just bring the last slide up. This is this. So this is also the QR code. So if you want to join from your phone, you can do that. But yeah, I would love to open it up for questions, anything that you like me to talk about more. Yeah, and then we have 30 minutes or so. I want to get to know you guys a bit better, and I know I know where people are from, but I would love to hear, hey, look, if you just want to come chat, that's also totally fine. Just raise your hand or like let me know in the comments somehow, and then try to get you into the stream. We can chat a little bit. You can tell me about your business, what it is that you're building. If you're a Brizy customer, how you're using Brizy, that's always interesting. Okay, Robert de Wilde. I want to do website leasing. Let's see. Show. There we go. Robert, can I ask you on stage? This is literally my first time trying. No, I cannot ask you on stage because you're on Facebook, I think. Let's see. Let me just hide it one more time and see if... No, I cannot do that. So I'm going to show the question. Thanks for the question, by the way. I want to do website leasing. What one-time and what monthly fee do you recommend? I'm within the European Union. That is a very good question. So if you are at all able to join the stream, I highly recommend you do, because then we could actually talk about it. I'm going to give you some questions back. Number one, who are you trying to sell your websites to? Are we trying to sell to dentists? Are you trying to sell to, friends and family? Are you trying to sell to medium-sized businesses? Are you trying to sell to enterprises because maybe they are also interested in leasing a website? So if you can clarify that, then I probably have some recommendations or some ideas on price points. If you just to not keep the suspense too long, our recommended retail price is $19, right? For Brizy Cloud, it's $19, and we also recommend that, by the way, for Brizy WordPress. So if you use Brizy WordPress to create your websites, we recommend that you set it around the $20 mark. Because what that does is it puts you roughly equal with like Wix, Squarespace, all the big DIY website builders. So this is the retail rate for a DIY solution. So we sell it for $20 a month. Okay, so local small business owners. So I'm assuming it's sort of a done for you solution. You use a website building tool. You create, okay. And another follow-up question on this would be, how many pages do you think you typically do? Is it like maybe 5 to 10? So, homepage, about us, services, products, and contact us, something like that, like a simple five-page site. Is that roughly it? My general answer on this would be, I would always, and local small business, that can still be quite a variety of things. I pay I went spinning this morning. I go to a spinning class, and it was $30 to go spinning. And that's 50 minutes of actually sitting on a cycle and sweating your butt off. So to a business, like if you charge, and by the way, if you sign up for that gym, and this is just a comparison, if you sign up for that gym, I think they charge me like $250 per month or something if I want to have unlimited cycles, right? So the idea would be, okay, if you for them, like an expense like $100 a month or $200 a month is really not very much, because they make that back from one single customer, right? So if your value proposition is, okay, I'm going to bring you more customers because I'm making you a better website, and there is some additional, I'm building sites for them, so no DIY. Okay, yeah, so you're building the site for them. So I've seen a fairly successful agency owner actually that is considering switching from a competitor over to us. Very recently, they have close to 300 websites, and they have a very cool like a very cool flow on their site, on their contact site. They basically ask leading questions. So they say, okay, do you want to have like just a one pager? Do you want to have 10 pages, etc.? And so they come up with a project price. And I think it starts at like, they were UK based, like maybe £3,000 or so. So that's, for a basic small business website. But then based on all the features they want, is it a contact form? Do you also want me to automate your newsletter, for example? So based on setting all of that up, they then also charge a higher monthly retainer. And I think they do 150 to 250 pounds. So that comes out, like 300 euros or so for, creating and hosting and maintaining basically the website. The question is also, do you include some maintenance in that, right? So if anything happens and they say, hey, look, Robert, I need an additional page, I want to run a promo, do you give them an hour or something included? Which would be my strong recommendation, because most of the times people will not want it, but it adds incredible value if you add it into your lead magnet. I hope that more or less answers the question. Then we have AJ. AJ, can I recently sign up for Brizy Cloud? What role does personalization play in the effectiveness of lead magnets? AJ, I know you. Let me just bring up the question. And wait, if I bring up the question, I cannot get you on stage. I'm going to invite you to the stage and just see if that works. User was invited to studio. Let's see if you join. Meanwhile, I will show the actual question. Thanks for the kind words. Role does personalization play in the effectiveness of lead magnets? So the more you can personalize it, the better. The question is a bit, is it really worth it? So the way I have been approaching agencies, I just say, so my pitch, very simply put, for Brizy is, you currently cannot service clients that have a budget less than, and I usually put a range like either $400 or $800 or $1,500 for a custom website. You cannot currently service these clients. What you do with these clients is you send them to Wix or Squarespace, because that's where they can, for $1,500, they can get their own website there. Now, what if there were a solution to that problem, right? So I already know that every agency owner, they're not going to get out of bed for, like a website for like $400. For $400, like nobody, starts custom work, because people don't really understand how much work web design is, right? But you kind of would want that customer to still be a customer. So if you were to offer them a DIY website building solution, you can. So now, basically, I've addressed a problem that I know that every single agency has. Now, let me give you a different example. So, oh, by the way, AJ, there you are. I can add you to the stage now. Hey, AJ, how's it going?
Going good. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. I hope everybody else can too, but I'm assuming yes. Yeah, so thanks for the question, by the way. I think it's a great question. So generally, I would, if you look at your total addressable market, let's say, my example, dentists in Toronto, you find all of them, and you find the common problem that they have, right? You can do that through market research. You can literally call them up and say, hey, look, what current issues do you have with your website, right? And then if it is that you're selling website services, if it's, for example, SEO, right? Like if you want to rank in the top 10, organic search results, and you as an agency owner know that every dentist in Toronto is going to want that, you don't really have to highly personalize it. You just give them something which is super valuable, which they can basically add for free. Does that make sense?
Yep, sure does.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have like any follow-up questions on that, or like what kind of clients do you actually sell to yourself?
Well, I mean, a lot of what we do right now is actually work for other agencies, but we're looking to expand our small business clientele,
Okay.
wanting to bring in more of the small to medium sized mom and pops.
Yeah.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on, especially here in the States, is our affordability, because we want to offer the small people the same advantages as the big companies
Yeah.
without the overhead, without the thousands of dollars for design. So you were actually talking, most agencies won't get out of bed I believe you said 400 euros. For most agencies here, won't touch a custom website
Yeah.
for less than $2,000. Well,
Yeah.
we do.
Okay.
This isn't a bill paying job for us. This is something that we do on the side to try to help small
Yeah.
companies.
And
So
and I always believe, and this has happened to us at Brizy time and time again. People come to us and they sort of try out the product, and they kind of, you don't really notice, and then over time they actually start building up massive businesses on our platform, right? So they start out with like, oh, I have 7 websites, right, and I'm trying to move over to Brizy, and you think, okay, well, I of course we try to do exactly the same thing. Everybody's treated equally. We give them top-notch service, and we try to make it as easy as possible for them to get on board. But then over time, they actually grow into very significant customers, right? And they will always, I mean, websites are very sticky, as you know, right? It's very hard to switch from one platform to another. So the moment you actually have a customer and you service them well, and maybe their small business grows into a medium-sized business, and now they can afford SEO services and such, and you offer that as well, then you can always upsell them additional things. And I think this is a great way to create relationships. Number one, like one of the things I would really encourage everybody to do, focus on a niche and hit that as hard as you possibly can, right? And this is why I specifically say dentists in Toronto. I don't say dentist websites. I say dentists in Toronto, right? Because it's you can figure out how many dentists there are in Toronto. I'm sure there's yellow pages and like directories where you can look stuff up. And by the way, I think Netis de Fabriken, I know who this is. I think this is John, if I'm not mistaken. Ask this question and I address it in a second. But find like a small niche. So don't go small business owners, because that's everyone. Say bakeries, right, or dentists, or bicycle repair shop, because then it's much easier to create a lead magnet for them, right? For a bakery, it's a different lead magnet than for a dentist compared to a bicycle repair shop.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, AJ, for stopping by. I'm going to put you off stage, and I'm going to go to the next question for a second. Okay, so let's make sure I do this somewhat in order. There we go. I'm going to put the question up because I don't think John from Norway. Actually, this is where it says it, even in the question. Building up a list of email addresses for my future website builder on Brizy by cold calling Norwegian businesses. What should I write in the emails? So I think that kind of perfectly, like I sort of addressed that in the previous section. So Norwegian businesses, I'm sure there's a lot of Norwegian businesses. There's probably dentists in Norway too, and bakeries and bicycle repair shops and enterprises. So my really strong recommendation is find a super small niche that that you already have some sort of experience in. And in my experience, I'm going to go over that in the follow up, like next week probably. There is a couple of ways on who you can sell to. Like there is actually a very limited number of ways you can sell to people. So one of the ways, and the easiest way, is to sell to people who you know. So when I started at Brizy, I took out my little Rolodeck of spam experts customers, because guess what? We're also selling to web hosting providers with Brizy, right? So we actually, we try to talk to GoDaddy. We are already customers. We already have a customer Namecheap, large web hosting providers. And of course, I have existing relationships with them. So for me, it's a lot easier to book a meeting, to tell them about the new stuff that I'm doing. So John, to get back to your question, if you say, well, I'm targeting Norwegian businesses, number one, I would look at, okay, if you've previously sold to a specific vertical, so any niche, any sort of like business that you have some experience in, and you think they also might need a Norwegian website builder, go for them first. Like target all the bakeries and actually talk to them. And then you can always, because that usually number one, it gives you very good user feedback. So they will tell you, oh, what I love about your website builder is that, what I don't love about it is that. And then you can adjust things, you can adjust your messaging, you can change your lead magnets around a little bit, and then you can actually start running ads specifically. If we stick with the example of Norwegian bakeries, then you can always, specifically say, okay, the best 5 tips how to make fluffy bread in Oslo or something like that. So that would be my recommendation. So focus on a niche, and then if you do cold email, which I'm assuming is what you're doing, so you're getting email addresses, you're getting in a directory. You can do it exactly the same way. So the pitch can always be exactly the same thing. If you know the pain point of your client, in my case, my example, I send a cold email to you, John. Hey, John, I know that you currently cannot service clients that pay less than $400 a month. $400 for a custom website. But I do have a solution for you, right? That immediately addresses your problem. And I think once you've found your niche, once you've decided who you want to sell to, you find their common pain point, and then actually address your cold email in exactly the way you would address an ad, how you would, reach out through LinkedIn. It just said, and you can always, one of the things I really like doing is you tell them that you're looking for feedback rather than trying to sell them something, right? You can say, I'm starting this new Norwegian website builder company, and I'm looking to get some feedback back on that. Would you be willing to actually talk to me, right? And then what you do is, like, if they're willing to talk to you, they're generally interested. Number one, they want to probably give you feedback because they're good people. But number two, they're probably also generally interested in a website builder product because they want to learn more. And you can just use that to your advantage. There's another question from AJ. What are most effective retaining clients? Okay. I'm just doing them one by one, by the way. So just paste them in the chat. And if you want to come on stage, or if I see that you are actually in the chat, then I will also just invite you onto the stage. When running an agency, what strategy have you found most effective for retaining clients and ensuring their satisfaction? Would you say DIY based, custom, fully managed? So again, it depends a little bit on what clients you have. If I'm Andy, my spinning cycling gym owner, I'm not going to start building websites. Like, my business runs on, spinning bikes, making sure people book their stuff, charging clients the right amounts, making sure my playlists are good. If I were to be a full-time photographer, I would hire an agency to build my website because I just don't want to deal with it. Like, probably by now I know enough how to make my own website, but I wouldn't want to really spend my time on building a website, because guess what? I'm really good at photography, but I suck at building websites, right? So my approach would always be, find the clients that are willing, that understand that there is value in them doing it for you. And then, of course, charge them a retainer, which is, the hosting fees or whatever you want to call it, the fully managed service, monthly hosting, security, maybe updates. If you say, well, one redesign per month, or, one page addition per month is included in your $100 a month fee. I think that's a very smart way to do. And for the ones that say, well, but my budget for the entire website for this year is $100, well, then you just use Brizy and resell the white label version of it, and you actually give it to a customer. And you're like, hey, sure, here are the templates, go figure it out, learn about web design, watch some YouTube videos, and then over time you can potentially upsell them. Robert is back with some additional information. I charge from 99 euros for building a website with the AI builder. This is a one-page website. I later monitor the AI well there, present a unique website. Time for leasing a website, charge on average $49.95. This is the area website leasing agent charge. The amounts you mentioned are much higher. Okay, so it depends, I guess, also on where you sell, right? So Netherlands, Robert de Wilde. Yeah, that sounds Dutch. I spreek een klein beetje Nederlands, but I'm not going to do that right now. So if you say, charge an average of $49.95 per month, so let's say 50 euros, I'm guessing, that, yeah, I mean, look, you can build the business model around that, right? And if you say, I'm trying to beat competition on price, you can, right? You can, because the AI generation with some customizations probably takes you maybe a couple of hours, right? And then really where you're making money is on the longer tail. So the longer a customer actually sticks with you, the more money you make, and you have probably very little stuff to do there. There's also always the option of just going up market. So, we sell, I think the most expensive plan on our website is $159, which is the white label plan. But there's also this extra column which says enterprise. And enterprise plans with us, they start at $399 a month, and that includes 100 websites, right? And some of our customers, they say, well, that's a total no-brainer for me. I'd rather pay 400 right away, and I can, because I know I want to move 50 customers over to Brizy right away, and then I just don't have to worry about costs. So always keep that in mind that if you go more on the retail side and on the lower price, so $50 a month for website leasing, you can do that. But it also really depends on whether you add additional services to it. Like I don't exactly actually even know what website leasing means. Is it just you make a website for them and you give them traffic to the site, or is it that they actually they just buy hosting from you and they buy the website building services? So that is something to keep in mind. But I think going up market and finding customers which probably have a higher budget for things like that is very interesting. And if you start maybe with bicycle repair shop, that's of course the perfect Dutch example, right? So if you started with bicycle repair shops, I'm sure there's a bazillion in the Netherlands. You start with those clients, but then you go maybe to somebody that like a software that is servicing bicycle repair shops, and you lease a website for them, and maybe their budget is $300 a month or 300 euros a month or 500 or something like that. Because I think one of the important things is, and this is especially when you start as I'm not an agency owner, so I wouldn't really know, but I've owned startups and I started startups, and initially you have a poor mindset, right? So your mind always goes to how much cheaper can I sell this, right? I try to get the very lowest price, and I'm going to spend 7 hours on making 99 euros, and that of course is not sustainable, right? So the idea is, okay, once you figured out your business model, try to for example, you can still hire me as a photographer. This is actually a true story. You can still hire me as a photographer. Now, if somebody asks me, okay, so if I want to shoot one day with you, I tell them it's $2,500 Canadian. So that's about 2,000 US dollars, right? And a lot of people would say, oh my God, no way. And I say, great, okay, no problem. But every now and then somebody says, okay, cool, let's do it. And so I'd rather have much fewer clients, because I actually don't really have the time to do this, because Brizy keeps me very, very busy, right? But you can always try to have like a premium product. And if you don't want to go for mass market, but you want to find like more diamonds rather than what's it called, more diamonds than, I guess, than a cheaper metal, gold, then maybe that is a good strategy to use. Emma, is it better to create a template and give as a lead magnet than to try and bring on clients to build their project themselves? That is a very good question. So I don't want to say it depends too many times, but it sort of depends again. It depends on who you actually sell this to, right? So if you're looking into having the customers actually create their own websites, then maybe actually using the template as a lead magnet is very, very good, because you can, it doesn't. I mean, it costs you one. My example to Robert is now, if you spend one time 7 hours to create an awesome template, and then you can use it as a lead magnet and get 100 leads, 3 of which will be willing to pay you $500 a month, you've won, right? Because you essentially you spend 7 hours on making $1,500 a month, right? So there's a good way of actually using a template as a lead magnet. Of course, you're not going to charge somebody $500 a month for a DIY website builder. That's, if you do, please let me know how you did it, because I'd be interested. But the idea is, you can use a template, or like you can use anything really. You can create a PDF, right? Emma, what is it actually that you do? You run a marketing agency, I'm guessing. So if it is that, you have a ton of experience in design, right? Like why, I don't know, certain design, like web designs, or like if you do desktop publishing, if you do any like sort of print design, you have a ton of experience in actually bringing that to market. And so, why not write an ebook about it? You don't have to make it super complicated. I put this presentation together. I mean, it took me like maybe 3 hours, because I wanted to have some specific resources in there. And, but like it takes me 3 hours to talk to currently 21 people, right? And we have some marketing value out of that. I can send you an email after, send you the recording, etc. Right? So it's 3 hours spent. I hopefully build a better relationship with you guys. I learn more about your business, understand what it is that you're doing, what kind of struggles you have with your agencies, because then both in our marketing and in our product, we can actually address those issues, fix them if they need fixing on our end, and make the product better. So it's a very long-winded answer. I think it really depends. You can use lead magnets in a variety of different ways. Number one, do you want to increase your top of funnel? Do you just want to bring more customers through the door? Or are you trying to actually use it to create a sale, right? And in my experience, lead magnets come way before the sale. It's really just to establish an initial relationship. Robert says, and my niche is small business owners, start with hair salons. Okay. Hi from Germany. Hi, Nasir. Okay. Hi from Germany. I have a question regarding the performance. I have Brizy in WordPress and Brizy Cloud. Performance in Cloud is very slow versus original domain WordPress. Why is that so? Well, I'm unfortunately not qualified to answer any technical questions you might have. So I have to pass you on to support. One thing that I can say is it really depends on what type of websites you build and how you build them. It's usually not our code because we have a very fast CDN that actually sits in front of all the Brizy sites. Maybe the initial page load speed is a bit slow because when we publish, it's not on the CDN yet. So that takes a little bit of time before it's actually before it goes faster. But there shouldn't be any performance issues. We run our infrastructure on AWS, Amazon Web Services, and that's pretty much as fast as it gets. So contact our support team, support@brizy.io. So they should be able to help and look into it. On the WordPress side, it really depends on how fast or slow page load speed is. It really depends on which hosting provider you use, right? So if you go for budget, mass market hosting provider, you probably share your server with 600 other customers. And if you go for like something more premium, if you have your own dedicated server, of course, it's going to be faster. So this is all I can say to that. Most common mistakes web design agency make and how they can avoid them. Well, if I were a web design, I have some thoughts on this. So most common mistake web design agencies make. I actually strongly believe that not focusing and not figuring out the business side of things is something which I've seen agencies owners make. Sadly, they also then leave our platform. This is actually the most common reason for Brizy customers to ever leave. It doesn't happen a lot, but when they leave, we try to ask them some questions. Hey, like why? And they basically they didn't manage to pull off the commercial part of it, right? So they pay an amount of money to actually have the website builder, but then they aren't able to actually figure out the business model behind it. So my recommendation is find a niche and find how you're actually going to advertise the products and services that you're selling from the get-go. So don't only go in and say, oh, all I need is a website builder. I mean, by all means, buy our website builder, but, figure out the actual business plan behind it. And you don't have to, search for business plan template and then fill out a SWOT analysis and all of that. No, just figure it out. So I'm going to go with my dentist example, right? Today I've decided, okay, I quit my job at Brizy. I'm going to start my marketing agency because I know a ton of dentists in Toronto and I'm going to sell them a website builder. So now I know, okay, well, I know who I am actually going to sell to. Then I get a list of dentists. I'm like, okay, well, there's 768 of them. I have 768 email addresses, so I can send them an email. I have 768 phone numbers. I can call them up. So already have figured out my go-to-market strategy, right? I actually know what I need to do in order to actually tell them about my services. Now I sit down and I say, okay, what's my actual offering? Well, I'm going to do not the DIY website builder, but I'm going to do custom websites based on a DIY template, right? So I'm going to create I choose Brizy, of course, as my platform because I know that's the best. So, I choose Brizy as a platform. I then create my dentist template. And then I basically start calling dentists and I tell them, hey, look, I just created a cool website for you. Would you like to check it out? So actually, and this is maybe, I have maybe a secret sauce thing that I want to share with you. Okay. So it's actually not so secret sauce, but let me try to make it a little bit more interactive because I'm blabbering away nonstop and you guys are probably already tired of hearing my voice. So how do I do this? Share screen, a window, share this window. Okay. So if I were an agency owner right now, actually, I'm going to change my example a little bit, but if I were an agency owner, I would use this tool to generate leads. So I'm going to look up dentist Toronto. Am I sharing my entire window, by the way? Or am I just sharing? Yes, I'm sharing the entire Toronto. Okay. So I found sponsored results first. Those are the rich people. So I'm definitely going to go for those first, right? I see they run an ad. So I click on their ad and I figure out, okay, the Accolade Dental Center. Okay, great. I already know that my customer is a dentist. I know their name. I'm going to put an industry for the AI website dentist. And we actually have that as a category. Great. Wait, why does it not let me click this? Okay, dentist. Next step, site name. Well, I guess I already know the site name, the Accolade Dental Center. It's going to copy paste that. Next step, short description, compassionate dentist, blah, 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 that you deserve. Okay. I hope this is long enough. I think it has to be like 100 characters. I know their phone number. Let's find the phone number. Where is it? Right here. 416, etc. And then I know their email address. I'm going to just go with, I'm guessing it. Let's go info at blah, blah, blah. And this doesn't allow me to, I think, do special characters or something. Anyway, let's put the phone number in there and I click on build website. Okay, it's too short. Our prices are extremely affordable. All right, so this is my description, and now I click on build website. If you've used the AI builder, I'm not showing you anything new, but what I really try to demonstrate with this is a way for you to generate a lead. Okay, so it does a bunch of stuff. Premium dental care at affordable prices, right? Okay, so it addresses that. The Accolade Dental Center. I, now go down here, click on share website, link copied. I'm actually gonna go and paste this into the chat so you guys can check it out. So this is my, my AI generate website. And now do you know what I'm gonna do next? I'm actually gonna call this dentist, and I'm gonna tell them, hey, do you have a WhatsApp number or do you have a text that I can actually send this URL to? And then you actually, while you have somebody on the phone, you would basically show them a custom website that you created for them. And you can tell them, hey, do you want to buy this? It's $20 a month. And they say, oh, sure, that's cheap, right? Or $50 a month, whatever you set it for. And then you basically use the AI builder of Brizy to generate leads directly for your agency. So this is a very simple way of generating leads for your business. And I can talk a little bit about this. And we actually are about a week away from, if I go back to here, we're about a week away from having a Google My Business integration. And some of you that had demos with me recently know this. But instead of, picking an industry and from your website, we will actually use the Google My Business APIs to look this dentist up. So once I type the Accolade Dental Center over here, it's actually going to bring up the Google My Business profile. It's going to use the images, it's going to use the text, it's going to use the phone number, the opening hours, and all of that stuff to generate a custom website. And that is going to supercharge you as agency owners to really just go in and, and figure it out. And so very, very long-winded answer to a somewhat short question, but I think it's important to note this. Figure out the business side and how you're actually going to sell your product or your services, because I think that makes the biggest difference in how successful you will actually be with your agency. I'm considering $16 per month. Okay, let me just bring this up. Considering charging $16 per month for my AI builder, which would give me a little over 50% in profit. Is this a fair price? Should I charge more initially and then less in the future? Yeah, I mean, common wisdom tells you not to charge more upfront and then less in the future. I would do it the other way around, if anything, right? We run sales and, they're time limited. You have until the end of May to buy a certain product at a certain price. If you don't do it by then, it's going to be the regular price, right? So my recommendation in general would be, make the barrier to entry for a new customer very, very low. So, make it cheap, make it free for a month, right? Like you can afford to pay a Brizy fee for a month, but not actually charge your customer. And then if they like it, we have a free trial now, 14-day free trial, right? You can use the product. You can just not publish to a custom domain, but you can use all of the features. And after that, if you want to continue using the product, you actually have to pay or you have to sign out of the account, right? So my recommendation would be that. If you say, well, if your question is more, okay, I actually want to create a custom website for my client. Of course, you have to charge them more, right? Like they're not gonna, be happy with, you cannot charge $16 for a custom website. That's just, there's no business where that ever makes sense. I would charge, whatever customer audience you have, charge them $1,000 up front, and then $16, $20, $25 per month, right? And try higher is my recommendation. Always try higher. You never know who says yes to it, right? Yeah. And give me a little bit of, yeah, okay. Contact support, okay. Okay, so lead magnets, valuing yourself and your skill set. VJ, by the way, thanks for the question. There's an important skills that deserve proper recognition. If you start off cheap, there is an expectation to remain cheap. Eventually, this can lead to a feeling. Yeah. So very much appreciate that comment. I don't have a Rolex. Probably never will buy one. But there are people that buy them, right? And a Rolex also just tells the time from a functional perspective. A Prius also can just drive you from A to B, just the same as a Rolls Royce, but there is a very, very different price, right? There's number one, a perceived thing in your customers. The moment you actually go extremely cheap, you say, yeah, my services are, $5 an hour, and but I'll figure it out. They will just assume that you're not an expert, right? If you want to book a consulting session with me, it's $400 an hour, right? So if you want to book a photo shoot day with me, it's $2,000 a day. Am I significantly better than all the other photographers out there? Probably not. It's still a camera, and if you know about lighting and all of that stuff, but the perception, of course, comes very much from where you stand. And Jay, just like you said, is very, very true. The moment you undersell yourself, there's a very good chance that you will always just remain in that bracket, right? And if somebody's looking for the cheap photographer, call Nils, because his day rate is $200, and I would still my camera now is like 10 grand, so they don't understand that. And I think pricing yourself appropriately is really, really important. Max is asking, is it possible to connect Brizy Agency Cloud and Stripe? I believe it is not. I think you have to be on the white label plan, but please refer to support at brizy.io, and those guys can help you out. Brooke, thank you for the kind words. That Google My Business API sounds great. Let me just bring that up. But I may know that many ad generators do not match well with the niche in terms of style. Yeah, TBD. I haven't seen it live yet, but I hope, of course, that our engineers, and we have some very, very, very brilliant people in the team that, they do all the hard work. I just do like fun webinars with you guys. But, they do all the hard work. They do all the coding. They've looked into this extensively. And, I hope it's really going to supercharge your agencies and I don't just want to use buzzwords here, but I really, truly think it can make a difference in how do you go to market. Because John from Norway, as you earlier said, you're getting this list. And what if you can now, if you're an enterprise plan, you can actually give us a list, and we auto generate 100 websites for you. You can then call them up and say, hey, look, I have a ready built website for you. Buy it right now. Give me your credit card details, and then charge them a monthly fee. I don't think we have much more time. Let me just bring this thing back, add to stage. How do I remove the question? All right, somewhere in here, I put my email address, didn't I? Nils at brizy.io. So anything that comes up that you want to ask me that I didn't cover, feel free to send me an email. I have a couple of requests from you before we go. Number one, if that was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up on social media. Please tell some friends about it. Actually, the second part is much more important than the first one. Tell some friends about it. We're trying to do these every single week now. I probably have to skip in 2 weeks because I'm going to go to an event, but I'm going to try to do them every week. Generally speaking, I will try to cover a topic of interest. I'll try to answer all of your questions. It's really amazing. I really appreciate you guys taking the time, checking us out. If you're a customer, thanks for your business. If you're considering us, feel free to book a meeting with me. I can show you the builder in person, answer more questions. But thank you very much for your attention, and share it with a friend, help a fellow agency owner, entrepreneur, hear about cool products and cool series that we're trying to set up, and help each other grow our businesses. So with that said, peace out. I don't know if my balloons work, actually. Fireworks. There we go. Confetti. I get them done. I really appreciate you taking the time. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.